Because I'll tell you something, you're absolutely right, Bonnie. I am not even joking. Like yesterday, I was working on the draft of the live musical version of Strictly Ballroom, which I've got to open in March. So I'm double booked.
Well, I'm happy. Keep them coming, Baz, because you are brilliant. And my first question is, what are your dreams like?
I don't really remember them. I don't have many dreams, and I think my problem is that's because I'm all dreamed out. I think my days are full of, they're labor and they're incredible work, but I'm surrounded by so much. Like my mind is constantly I'm running the movie in my head so I really don't have like these kind of. People think I have this in my head, and when I sleep, well, I barely sleep. So that's my big problem. Maybe that's why I don't dream.
You've done an outstanding job with this movie. It is so
Thank you.
Beautiful. And I want to know how you start from thinking in your head how it's going to look to make it look like this.
Well, I start, first of all, with this sort of thing of not what do I want to make, but what do I need to make. Like, I might want to do a rom-com. Sometimes I go, I just want to make something really simple, quick, fast, and fun. But then I go, I'm on a train in Siberia and I re-listen to Gatsby on a recorded book and I go, wow, that's us. That's who we are. This is this time. How could I maybe reveal that in a way in which it felt like you were reading the book in 1925, and then I get stuck with this crazy idea and I can't let it go and it can't let me go, and 10 years go by and I get the rights and I have a life and my children come and I'm still doing it, and I even when I try and walk, something happens. And even when I try and walk away from these ideas, I'm a bit like Al Pacino in The Godfather. They pull me back in. So there I was, Gatsby, and now I go, oh, please don't say it's in 3D, but it has to be because Fitzgerald was a modernist. I see the Hitchcock, made in the 60s, it's a drama medium. I think, no, 3D is going to be a dramatic medium. Fitzgerald would have done it. I've got to do it. I've got to put up with the noise and all the mud and all that. So that's how it goes. That's awesome. How it rolls.
And then you have to pick a cast. And I have to say, I remember way back in the 1970s watching the original Great Gatsby, and I think that's when I fell in love with Robert Redford.
Right.
And we look at, Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie, and I'm thinking, oh my God, matinee idol. I mean,
well, Robert Redford was responsible for this movie, my version, because my dad ran the cinema for a short time, and I saw Which Cast is Sundance Kid. I was 7. I went, that is the coolest man I've ever seen, and his sidekick ain't bad either. And then I saw Sting, and I went, those two are super cool. I saw Gatsby, and I remember thinking, he's cool, it's beautiful, but I didn't know who Gatsby was. Now, Francis Ford Coppola, who helped me on this, who wrote the screenplay to the Redford version, said what I did was I went out to all the other texts of Fitzgerald. So Francis was a great support. I even read a book, actually, about the making of that 70s version, and Redford himself wanted to put more of the flashback in. He wanted to put the Dan Cody story in, and they didn't do it. He was right. So I don't think in any way there's that version, and it looks like Hamlet. Which is your favourite one? The one that was done by Olivier, or the one you saw done by the young kid in London last month? If it's a great work, it's there to be done many times in many different ways.
So why Leo, though? Leo, he's
what's the list? I mean, let's tick it off, okay? It's got to be like, first of all, Leonardo has natural charisma, but he's burdened with being not just a matinee idol. He is, in fact, one of the greatest actors of all time. Complexity, depth, nuance, and he's fully in control of that instrument of his. I mean, if he's an actor and he's acting as an instrument, it's a Stradivarius. And, like at that age, at this time, that role, well, I mean, what's the list? So that wasn't a decision. That was just part of there was the book and Leonardo. And then it was everything else. And Toby came very quickly too, because I would have thought of Toby, but I've known them. Leonardo, one of the things about Leonardo, he is actually a really warm and good person. And he's surrounded, all those people he's known, I've known them for nearly 20 years. Those friends have been there all that time. And those parents of his are just some of my closest friends. I adore those people.
Yeah, he's grown up beautifully. That's
yeah, you know what? I hope I could do half a good as job as they have done with Leonardo, with my kids.
And Carrie, I mean,
Well,
wow.
she was sort of like, as Leonardo and I said, well, it was a Gone with the Wind search, you know. And when she came in, it was like 10, 20 seconds or something, and we looked at each other, and then 30 seconds, looked at each other and walked out. It's like, Leo said, well, I guess that's the next phenomena in acting. And I said, you know, and he said something great. He said, if, as in the book it says, Gatsby knew women young, he would know a certain kind of woman, but he would never have known a woman like that, like a hot house flower you want to protect.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, how do you think, you know, there's such a resurgence now because of the film, of the fashions. How are you feeling about that now I think people are, you know, wanting to dress up in the 20s. And what is it about that era, the 20s, that people love that?
Well, I tell you what they love. It's the beginning of everything we are today. I mean, if you go back 10 years earlier than the 20s, right, and you're in the teens, I mean, all women, young women have got dresses down to their ankles, and there are horses and carts mainly. Bang! You know, suddenly where dresses are up to your knees, hair is going up, skyscrapers going up, the thing called the aeroplanes going up, everything's going up, 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 up. It's a new modern world. This hotel we're sitting in is in the movie. It was there in the 20s. You know, the dresses that they're wearing in the movie at that time are totally fashionable now. I mean, you know, we are still in the modern era. That's why that book speaks to us now. I mean, I don't know, moral elasticity on Wall Street, anyone? Ring a bell? I mean, it is now. It is us. And our job was to use the book. All I really needed to do was go, well, okay, take jazz. Fitzgerald put it in the book. It was a visceral African-American street music. It exploded. It spoke to the people. But now it's gorgeous. It's fab. But unless you're a fan, it's quaint. So if it's a jazz age, I go to hip-hop, chairman of the board, Jay-Z, great collaborator, you know. Fitzgerald put the music of his time in his book. I put the music of our time in this film.
It worked perfectly enough.
Well, thank you.
Why does it work so well with you and your wife? My God. How do you, this symbiotic, like you've got one brain, the two of you. I don't get it.
Yeah, one brain. Look, the day I met her, she came in and we were talking about Bertolt Brecht and Madonna. And we talk a little less about Brecht and Madonna. We talk a little bit more about William and Lily. They're our children. But we're still talking and we're still having a conversation and we're exactly the same. We think we're the same. I think my hair color's different. She looks the same to me. But we you know, we have that. I actually base a lot of my collaborations on, do I like talking to someone? You know what I mean? Conversation and connectivity, they're like, it's just, you can always fill the time in with that.
Very, very quickly, the past cannot be repeated, such a famous and iconic line in this. How does that apply to you with filmmaking and what you do?
Well, I know people go, well, I've got my thing, but, you know, I like to think it's an evolution and moving forward. You know, if Leonardo was a young, gifted actor in Romeo and Juliet, then the way I made that film was very brash and very me young. And I like to think that this is me older. But also, I don't want to repeat the past. I want to beat on, you know, boats against the current. Of course, you're going to feel like you're being drawn back, but I want to move forward. I don't want to repeat myself.
Well, you're just brilliant, and thank you for everything you've given us. Honestly, I don't even have to say it. It's such an honor for me to sit here and talk to you. You're fantastic.
Well,
congratulations on this, and all the best.
Well, now I'm under pressure to make my Strictly Ballroom good for you too.
I will be
and
in
I'll
the
tell you
front
what,
row.
Well, I'm running behind, so.
Well, you let me know. I'll be in the
nice.
front row for that. Thank you so much.
Lovely to
Pleasure.
catch up.
Thank